primary ignition.
Welcome to Unlimited Power. My name is D-Rod, and here's my Twilight of the Republic pre-release guide for Nute Gunray. Now, Nute Gunray is going to be one of the new blue-black leaders for this set, and as always, my guide is going to be focusing on a lot of the commons and uncommons, maybe a rarer or two, within this set that can really help you build a deck around Nute Gunray at your local pre-release. Now, the reason why you're focusing mostly on commons and uncommons is because that's what you're going to get the most of within your 6 packs in your pre-release kit. So we want to make sure that what you have is easily accessible so you can build a strong framework around this character. As always, this is going to be my suggestions for this character. There's a lot of things you can do within this set, but these are the things I think are going to work best that I'm going to be trying myself at some of the local pre-releases. So first we need to take a look at Nute Gunray as a leader and a leader unit. As a leader, Nute Gunray has the ability where once 2 or more friendly units were defeated, you can exhaust him and create a battle droid token during the phase. Now, I really like this kind of ability. It is a trigger that requires you losing something, but you can put something out. So yes, the math is going to work against you a little bit of you're always going to lose 2 to get 1, but there are ways in this set to make it work in your advantage. Now, as an epic action, you can deploy Nute Gunray when you have 6 or more resources, which means you can do this as early as turn 5. Now, when Nute is deployed, he has a lot of health, and he's a 2/8. On attack, he can now create battle droid tokens without anything having to die. But 6 resources can be a lot to get to in a limited game. So you want to make sure you have the right stuff coming out early to give you the tempo you need. And once Gunray's out there, have essentially a machine that is constantly putting out droids for you. So let's take a look at some of the big blue-black cards within his leadership aspect. The first one is going to be this rare that I'm just excited to get on the board, Malevolence. The 7/7 Grievous secret weapon here has Exploit 4. Now, Exploit and Coordinate are 2 of the new abilities within Twilight of the Republic, and Nute Gunray's ability to create droid tokens is going to be helpful whether you want to focus on the Exploit or Coordinate. Exploit allows you to remove a unit from play and lower the cost of an exploit card by 2. So when Malevolence says you can exploit 4 cards, that means you can lower the total cost of it by 8, resulting in you only paying 1 for this ship. Now, 1 for a 7/7 is really good. 3 for a 7/7 is good. 5 for a 7/7 is great. What I don't want to necessarily pay is 7 for a 7/7. But if you can get this out on turn 5, it's a really good jump ahead of your opponent. You not only do you get the 7/7 in the space arena, you now have the restore ability, which heals your base for 2 every time you attack. You also have a great when played ability that lowers the attack of a unit and prevents them from attacking that whole phase. So I really like the Malevolence for multiple reasons. It triggers Nute Gunray, it gives you a big unit on the board, it can heal your base, and it has an immediate action when it comes into play. Now, moving on to something smaller and more common is going to be the Droidicas. The security Droidicas don't give you shields, but they do have the Sentinel ability and Exploit 2. Exploit 2 means you can play this card for 2 instead of 6, and I'm okay paying 2 for a 4/5 or 4 for a 4/5 with Sentinel. Either way, this is a great card to get on the board because it will not only remove units to trigger Nute Gunray, it gives you now a Sentinel unit that could also trigger Nute Gunray's ability and prevent your base from taking too much damage. Last is the Wartime Trade Official, a 2-drop that's a 1/3 that says when defeated, create a battle droid token. You're going to do plenty of things to kill your own units in this deck, so get some more rewards from it. Now, in the Vigilance aspect alone, there are several cards that really work well with Nute Gunray and within this set. I would say blue probably has some of the most board wipes in this set to deal with a lot of tokens. But let's focus on the 3 cards I think are really going to be effective here. Grievous Reassembly has the ability to heal 3 damage from a unit and create a battle droid token. You have some units that are pretty small, but if you exploit a big one, you want to keep it in play a little bit longer. Or maybe you're just trying to keep that Droidica alive. The ability to heal it and put out a battle droid token could come very much in handy, and at a 2 cost, it's not going to be a bad one to hold on to. Death by Droids, however, a little bit different, a 5 cost event that you may not want to hold on to the whole time, but it does have the ability to defeat a 3 cost unit and give you 2 more battle droid tokens. So it's not the strongest removal in the set, but it is playable within the limited standing. And last is the multi-troop transport. A 7 drop with just Vigilance and Exploit 2, you have the ability of putting this card out on when you have 3 resources, as long as you had 2 units to exploit. So by lowering this cost by 4, you get a 3/6 unit. The stat wise aren't great. It's better if you are only paying 3 for this unit. But it has the unattack ability of creating battle droid tokens, which is important with this exploit and coordinate mechanic. Now with blue, it's definitely going to be a lot more exploit than coordinate, but let's go ahead and keep moving on to the command aspect next. A Confederate courier has the ability to sit in your space arena, do some damage in that 2/1 slot, but when he dies, it gives you a battle droid token. There's a theme here, obviously. The more tokens we can keep on the board, the more we have the ability to exploit. If we can exploit at least 2, we will trigger Nute Gunray's ability, keeping droids in play until Nute Gunray is out and attacking. So there's something to be had about keeping tokens in play against your opponent. Next, for a 4 cost, Subjugating Starfighter, another space unit with ambush. A 3/3 for 4 in ambush, I don't really mind so much. I think that's a good slot. But if you have the initiative, it will give you a battle droid token on play. So you have the ability of using this card to swing into an opponent's unit. If it dies, that's okay. Nute Gunray is looking for friendly unit deaths. So using this for the ambush action is perfectly acceptable. If you have the initiative, you'll get another unit in play because of it. Last is Kraken here, Confederate Tactician. This 5 cost unit is a 2/5. Stat wise, it's okay, but when played, you get 2 battle droid tokens, and on attack, each friendly token gets +1/+1 for the phase. This is a really good late game or mid game unit because it has the ability of getting you ahead of your opponent, making your droids a little bit more threatening. The fact that it gives them +1/+1 when he attacks and strengthens that defense is going to be really important to help you against a lot of removal. So a lot of times you may want to swing with Kraken before you swing with anyone else. In the aggression aspect, the heavy persuader tank, sorry. This is the tank that I really enjoyed seeing in Revenge of the Sith. It's a 7 cost unit with exploit 2. So exploit 2 means we can pay 4 less for this and get it out for 3. Now for 3, this card is great. Even for 5, I'll take it for 5 if I have to and sack 1 droid. But it's a 6/5 unit and says when played, deal 2 damage to a ground unit. So it can immediately kill a clone or a battle droid on enter, which is great because you do want to have the ability to stop your opponent from exploiting as well. So I really like heavy persuader tank. It's tough to deal with at that 5 health. It hits hard at 6. If it had overwhelm, it probably wouldn't be a common. Now, Saz Ventress is going to be our uncommon slot here. This card was revealed months ago in the con packages. A 4 cost 2/4 with exploit 2, meaning you can pay this card for 0. And if you do, it's pretty awesome because on attack, if you attacked with another separatist unit this phase, make an Asajj a +3 for the turn. So she can swing for 5 as long as you attack with any other separatist, and all those droid tokens are separatist. Lastly is Count Dooku for the aggression aspect. You cannot have Nute Gunray and the Separatists without their overall leader and Sith manipulator, Count Dooku. So with exploit 2, you can pay him for 4. He's a 6/6 units, and it says for each unit you exploited while playing this card, you may deal damage to an enemy equal to the power of the exploited unit. So with battle droid tokens, you're only going to do 2 points of damage, unless you're strengthening their power with Kraken and then doing Count Dooku. So Dooku's pretty good to hold on to if you really need it to kill something bigger. Maybe get rid of this Persuader tank, or maybe a Asajj after she attacks because she'll be a 5. Something to that where you know it's going to die and you want to use Count Dooku effectively. But he's a great on the board. He's a 6/6 with overwhelm, so he's going to do a lot of work. As long as you aren't paying 8 for him, there's a lot of value. Cunning aspect. Now, Cunning was another one where there was a lot of good options here. So let's focus on two commons and a rare that I think are pretty strong. We've talked a lot about Exploit, and the Tri-Droid Suppressor really meets that again. It's a 7 cost, Exploit 2. If you can pay 3 for this or 5, I think it's a good card. It's a 4/7 Separatist Droid Walker that says when played, exhaust an enemy ground unit. So it does something on play, and that's really important because it can prevent you taking damage from any ground unit. So that's going to stop a lot of your opponent's leaders. And that's the best way to use this suppressor, which is why he's called a suppressor. Next is going to be on the doorstep. Create 3 battle droid tokens and ready them. You're going to want the droids anyway. It's a 4 cost for 3 1/1s. That's pretty solid. Using them to trigger Nute Gunray, I think, is also going to be good, or to get you more set up for an exploit the next turn. Last is Rush Clovis. A big fan of this character that we saw in the Clone Wars series. Rush Clovis is a 3/5 for 4. So stat wise, I like it. I think the numbers are good. First thing we're looking at. Then he has Raid 2. So he's a 4 cost who's hits for 5. Love it. On attack. If the defending player controls no ready resources, create a battle droid token. This is good. I really like this because it may prevent your opponent from playing something bigger if you have Clovis out. If you have this and they want to drop a 5-drop, but they know if they do, you're going to create a battle droid token, that may stop them from doing so and play something lower. Or maybe they pass, giving you a little bit more favor, hoping you'll swing with Clovis before they drop the 5. A lot of good options here to mess with your opponent, which is why I really enjoy cards like these. In the villain aspect, we see more droid tokens. Who would have thought villains is going to have a lot to do with droids here? The first card is going to be Merciless Contest. One of my favorite episodes in the Clone Wars series was from this scene here depicted with Asajj, Savage, and Count Dooku all having this crazy 3-way fight. Now, the card says for 3, you can choose a non-leader unit each player controls, and you defeat those units. You choose one for yourself, you choose one for your opponent. You're making battle droid tokens, so we know what you're going to pick. But what you're going to pick from theirs can be anything as long as a non-leader. No matter the size, if you can target it and defeat it, it's good to go. So great card. Droid Deployment is a 2-cost card that gives you 2 battle droid tokens. Definitely one you may want, so you can do the exploit ability as early as turn 2, which is when you'll have 3 resources, which, as we've already talked about, there are a lot of good cards that come in at 3 resources. And even though Vanquish is in this set, they can't play that Vanquish card for 2 more turns. So you can get that Malevolence to hit, or that Suppressor to hit, anything like that. Next is the Battle Droid Legion. This card can only be exploited by up down to 5. It's a 9-cost card, so it's pretty big, as big as the Malevolence. But when defeated, you get 3 Battle Droid tokens, and it's a 6/5. So if I'm paying 5 for a 6/5 with a when defeated ability, I'll take it. I think that's another good one. Your opponent's going to have to deal with it, that no one wants to take 6 every turn, and if they kill it, you're rewarded. Lastly is going to be the non-aspect cards. Not many in this set are going to be standout ones, so this is going to be pretty generic here. Headhunter Squadron is just a solid 2-drop that can sit in space. Republic Vehicle Fighter. Honestly, a little bit of boring art there for Headhunter Squadron. Next, Volunteer Soldier. All your droids are troopers. This card was decent in set 1. I think it's a lot better in set 3. It has the Raid 1 ability, so you can hit for 3, and it's going to cost you less because of trooper tokens. And lastly is my favorite uncommon within this set, Private Manufacturing. Pay 2, draw 2. Sold. Sold. What else does this card do? I don't care. So, pay 2, draw 2 is good. Now, if you control no token units, you have to put 2 cards from your hand on the bottom of your deck in any order. I'm usually okay with that because there's always something I wouldn't mind putting away. But as long as you control a token unit like a droid, you get to keep those cards. So it's pretty much a strong win for anyone playing the token game. All right, that is everything I have for Nute Gunray and how you can play him with some of these colors. Let me know in the comments below if you took Nute Gunray to your local pre-release, how it went, what did you enjoy, what rares or legendaries did you open that really complimented Nute. I know I'm excited, and I hope I get a lot of the cards to really build out a Nute Gunray deck at my next pre-release this weekend, starting November 1st for Twilight of the Republic. Thanks for watching. May the Force be with you.